Hello and welcome to the last Wardy's Waffle before Christmas. So it's Christmas Eve when this goes out. So Merry Christmas to everybody who's watched these videos over the last year. Thanks very much for viewing them. Hope you've enjoyed the content. I've enjoyed the questions and everything and enjoyed doing them. So thanks for that. So this last update, I just thought we'd just have a quick look around the yard. Ruben and Tom have got the whole yard cleared up. You can see here no machines out, they've all been washed and put away, so we'll just have a look around some of these machines and just see what's in the shed. I've been away the last couple of days and they got them washed when I was away, but we'll just go through some of these machines. And also I'm going to carry on from the John Deere visit. If you remember, I went to Germany 3 weeks ago to the combine and tractor factory. I've still got some updates and videos from that to put, so I'm going to post some more of that as well, so that will make up this last update before Christmas. Anyway, we'll flick the camera around and we'll just go through some of this kit that's been washed. So these are 12 metre set of Dalbo rolls, and believe it or not, they're about 10 years old now, and it just certainly keeps things in a lot better condition when you keep them under cover. And this is one of the Simba bits of kit we've got. Cultipress, 5.5 metres wide. This great machine here with the tines at the front, sprung tines you can see there. Makes a good job cultivating, and levelling boards there, then 2 lines of rings that also chop lumps and consolidate the ground ready for the drill. And this machine here, I think is, where's this year of manufacture? So 2011, so yeah, 12 years old that machine. But again, keep stuff under cover and keep the sun off it, makes a big difference. This combine, New Holland, it's a CR 9090. There we go, see the model. It was a year old when we bought it. I think it's just done 9 harvests, or definitely 8 anyway. It's been washed outside but not inside, so all the mechanism haven't been washed, but the panels have all been washed. But inside we leave that until just before harvest, so otherwise water sits in the bearings and rusts them, and then they seize. This machine is a 5.5 metre Express Simba again, so 2 rows of discs here that you can alter the angle of these by turning a handle. You can't, oh, they're on that side. See the turnbuckles there? That alters, all of them are interlinked with that rod through there, alters the angle of them. We can also alter the angle of, with the disc, put more pressure on the front gang or the back gang with that ram and those shims there. We actually put this on extra, that wasn't on, that was a turnbuckle that was on there. But Ian, who helps us in the workshop, used to be in the R&D team at Simba. Some of you know Ian, and he's sort of helped us get all that right and make sure that's right. Again, this machine's probably 10 years old, really good machine. Here, this hasn't been washed looking at this. 6 metre set of Simba rolls. We hardly ever use these, but they are just handy for doing our stewardship areas and our small areas where we have our wildlife areas around the farm. This is a home-built machine. It started off life as a 6 metre solo. We converted it with the help of Philip Wright and an idea I had when I was on holiday once, laying on a beach in Crete a few years ago. So we've taken all the discs off the front, got some low disturbance legs, some Tilso low disturbance legs and points, and then it used to be for putting rape in when we grew rape, fertiliser tank, the seed comes out here, and these, when the wings here fold down and that folds down, these outlets are in line with the legs. Rubber roller here consolidates it. No scraper because it flexes when it's warmer weather and keeps it clean. We've got some nozzles here linked to the fertiliser tank, so it drops fertiliser, liquid fertiliser, in line with the seed. And then we've got another DD roller at the back that firms and consolidates it. We do use this on its own as a one-pass machine, and we put the Unipress on the back. We've got Unipress, which we'll see in another shed, on the back. So yeah, that does a good job really, this machine does. But we do this straight into stubble, Unipress on the back, and then we drill behind that with the free flow. The free flow hasn't been washed because we hopefully still will get some winter wheat drilled on the light land. 8 metre wide drill, and the other Simba bit of kit here you can see is a 3.8 metre 7-leg flatliner, so subsoiler. Quite aggressive wings on, you can see, in legs, but it does a cracking job underneath, and we'll be using this a lot more this autumn to try and repair some of the land damage that we've got. This is a roller that we made. We've got some heavy duty van tyres here, then we put some nodules off another roller that collapsed to drive, so this is what drives it. But yeah, we made that roller ourselves in the workshop, and does a really good job actually. Just firms it and just leaves a level surface. So that's the just show you the front of the free flow drill there. Yeah, we're hopefully going to get some more of that more drilled with that in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So the benefit of having an open shed like that is fantastic, because you're going to drive machinery into the yard coming in at night, or when your wheels and tracks are wet and muddy, don't need to drive all through the yard and just pop them in that open fronted shed. And the good thing is with that is facing north. Our prevailing weather comes from the southwest, so it very, very rarely rains in there. So really good shed. That's only been up about 4 years. This is the older shed here in the yard. It's been up many, many years. It started life, you can see by the curve of it, as a Dutch barn, and my father clad it, and that used to be the workshop, so that's called the old workshop. Really it wants recladding on the outside now with some green tin like these other buildings are, and we will do that sometime. But we've got a few other jobs want doing maintenance wise, such as concreting down here. We've got the yard cracking up now. This tarmac is going, so it needs a bit of repairs, concreting. So I'll just get the key and we'll look and see in this shed. So this is one of the grain stores. This shed was put up in 1976. It's got a floor dryer inside, but it's raised as a ramp up because it's an afterthought that the father had. So it is a bit higher here and it comes up a bit. You can see there's a ramp up there, but it works well. We've got our 32-foot triaxle Bailey flat trailer there that we used to use when we were doing a lot of haylage. I'm just considering whether we need something a bit different than that now, because we don't use it so much, but got a bit of wheat left there in the back of the shed. We'll just go through here, switch the light on. What have we got in here? We've got one of the Bailey trailers there, the grain trailers in that there, you can just see that. 16 tonne with a rollover sheet, but it does hold 18 tonnes on it. Got the combine header there, all under cover. Again, not washed, which we always leave it until the summer because the bearing, water getting in the bearings and the bearings failing when we leave it, stood with water in. So have a look in the other shed. There'll be more kit, I think, in the other shed. So I've just been in there, just come into the chemical store. The sprayer's in here, and also controls to operate the roller door there. So here's the new sprayer we got a couple of months ago. That will be ending up on Howsham's stand at Lammer. So those of you who go to the Lammer event, which is now in, at the NEC at Birmingham, you'll see this because it's going to be washed already. For that, Howsham's will take it back to their yard and wash it. So yeah, we haven't done a lot with it yet, but this is the one we've got the John Deere operating system on. You can see the green star there. So we'll open the, there we are, that's the controls for that door. I won't open it fully, just open it so it goes to the top of the number 3 sign. There, that should do it. There we go. What have we got in here? We've got the RX by the look of it. The old sprayer here that Howsham's are taking back soon. As I say, that is sold. Mentioned the last time, that's a viewer of the videos, so if you're watching this, hope you get all right with it. That chap who's bought it, I think he's from Scotland. And this contract tipper was washed the other day. You can see it's looking a bit better than it was when I was loading the beet soil out, so that's good. We've got the solar and the press here. This is the uni press I was on about, that we go behind that, the Elita as it's called, the machine that we put rape in with, and that goes behind there. But we haven't washed this solo either, because of we're going to be using this as well. We've got a bit of land to do on the heath after sugar beet, and the same with the 8RX. So just looking around here, I think the fast track's been washed as well. Yep, that looks a lot better. That tractor's, what is it now? It's a 61 plate, so that's 11, 12 years old. But I'm just contemplating having all this just shot blasted and repainted. You can see there's rust on here, because we used, when we had solid fertiliser, this is the tractor that did all the fertiliser spreading. And there's just lots of bits around the steps, and all the black bits there you can see are rusty, bits underneath. So I'm just contemplating having that taken somewhere to be shot blasted. This is the Puma, and again that tractor's about 12 years old as well, but they don't do many hours a year. These two only do probably 200, maybe 300 hours a year each. Yeah, so those two tractors you've just seen, obviously the RX is our main tractor, so that's the one that does the hours, but it will only do probably maximum 600 hours most. I'm just pressing this button and shutting that door. But those other two tractors, they only do rolling, bit of culti pressing, grain trailers, and on the Bowser. so that's why they don't do huge. Stopped. That's why they don't do huge hours. So we'll nip round now and have a look in the workshop, because that's had a bit of a tidy up as well, and we'll just see what's in there. So just while I'm walking to the workshop, just on sugar beet, we've got that big heap of beet that we lifted a week ago now. You saw in a couple of videos ago that we've got that on the out the ground. That isn't going in the factory now till the first few days in January, because the Hawley GR Ward relation, they are finding more beet everywhere they go. On the lighter land it's yielding quite well, so it's taking longer to get it in the factory. Anyway, this is the workshop now. We'll just turn the camera around. Not much in here. So Ruben and Tom had a bit of a tidy up around here the other day, and this is the Bowser that we use for fertiliser. There's a few pipes need repairing on that, so that's what they've been busy doing with that as well. It's on 3-inch pipe work. You've seen the full videos of that in other updates earlier on, but this is used for liquid fertiliser and helping to spray with water. 2 compartments, so from there, let's get a bit nearer to it. So that, from there to there is 1 compartment, that holds 5,000 litres, and then from that line all the way through to there is another compartment, and that holds 12,000. And but works really well on a Bailey chassis, 18-ton trailer chassis. And this is the Manitou forklift, that's just been washed as well, so in need of some new tyres. I've just got some new tyres sorted for it. You can see these are slicks now, so I'm just wondering what to do with that, whether to change that or not, because what it is and the offer, we've got a very good offer I think potentially on the table. Anyway, what else have we got here? That's it really in here. Solar on the roof there, up on the grain store up there. But yeah, really good workshop this. It's insulated as well, the roof's insulated, the walls are insulated, so it's warm in the winter when we get the heater on, and it's cooler in the summer. So good place to do some work. There's my Discovery tyre when I had a punch on the M62 going to Ollie. I've had a slightly off-road tyre put on that, so this is a general grabber on here, size 285/40 by 22.5, so very low profile. I've got to put that underneath the vehicle and winch that up, so I've had a slightly different tyre put on that. So yeah, that's the spare off the Discovery. So I hope you enjoyed having a bit of a look around the machinery and see it's got all looking washed and in good condition. The only new bit of kit we've got really at the minute is the 8RX John Deere. Now we'll head back to Germany, and here is from inside their harvest centre where they've got some combines lined up for us to look at, and one of the John Deere guys, Mike, going through the workings of a combine and how it actually threshes the grain. Some really interesting footage here. So over to Germany. We're going to have a look around this rig of the S-Series combine Mike's going to show us. So this is inside the combine.
An S-Series is made up of sort of a few different key components. So we talk about it as a single rotor, but it's how we utilise that single rotor. And it all starts with our feed accelerator in the front. So our feed accelerator and stone trap. So this still gives us our stone protection. So we've got the feeder house coming up to here, pivoting around these 2 blocks here, and this is accelerating the crop and also acting as a stone trap there, removing any foreign objects in and out of the way to protect the machine. And then underneath the feed accelerator we have this variable sort of pitch segments across the width of there. So the left hand side is fed quite a long way, quite deep into the drum. Centre is sort of 50% round, and then the right hand side or left hand side in the direction of the machine is fed really, really high up here. And the idea is so we can load sort of 270 degrees of that rotor, because if you don't do that, you're sort of forcing everything into a rope and into a pinch point and using quite a lot of high torque. And I know there's always a lot of angst around a single rotor being high power consumption or just draw damage and things like that, and a lot of that comes through the designs of old that would have pinched a lot of that material in that tight spot there. And having this design here really splits that crop mat up and sort of sets it on its journey through this acceleration area much more uniformly, and it's more of a 45-degree change of direction as opposed to an immediate sort of almost 90-degree direction change. It's quite a cone shape, a conical shaped drum, and the idea of that is, again, what we're trying to do, the crop's coming in at essentially where you're cutting it is at your driving speed, and you're trying to speed that crop flow and thin that crop mat the whole way through this drum. So we start off with quite a small drum because you've got a very thick crop mat, and as we transfer through the machine, we're going to get that crop mat thinner and thinner to try and get all the grain out. In the first section here, we've got our threshing area, so we've got these really deep threshing elements positioned here to be really aggressive in terms of getting the maximum threshing, and then we have various options in here in terms of concaves. So we have 3 different sets of concaves. This machine is set up with what we call a small wire, large wire configuration, and you always get slightly less aggressive as you move rearward through the machine, because the most intense threshing you need is in the front, and as you get further back you need potentially less and less threshing and more separation. Now, something that we've been working a lot in the UK is trying to balance the amount of threshing we need with the amount of separation we need. Traditionally, UK crops, very high yielding, lots of straw, damp conditions, but relatively easy threshing. So we need to do less threshing and more separation. So what we're moving towards now is, rather than running perhaps small, large, we're actually going to we're running small, and actually removing the large wire altogether and fitting a round bar. And the beauty of that is, in some of our, because we have a lot of flag leaf in the UK, a lot of UK crops, a lot of wheat crops specifically, have very strong flag leaf. It's pretty resilient to want to die off in certain areas. And when you have a wire and a concave like that, what that can promote is a bit of hairpinning. And then with that hairpinning, then you reduce separation area because your holes are getting smaller and smaller. And where the round bar comes in really well, and what we use in other countries for various crops, is this round bar design, and there's nothing really to get hung up on. So we've got really open design. We're not aggressively threshing because, say, they're round bars, and there's nothing to get hung up on like flag leaf hung around the wires. And it's something that's given us a massive lift in performance now, and as I say, moving forward, personally, that's given us a massive jump forward going to a small round bar in there, because we're sort of moving this rearward section of threshing more into separation. And as we go back and get into separation, so you'll see that design stays closer in sort of look to that than it does to a concave. The concaves move or adjusted with these 2 hydraulic rams with what we call concave isolation, so they've got a hydraulic dampening system in there to alleviate any thumping and banging. So when you've got a very tight concave in damp conditions, you often used to hear of rotary combines, that banging, that thumping, that really grisly noises. And we fought long and hard for this design to come up with a solution to get around that. The rotor tines area this, and then we really start trying to tease that straw apart. And we're really accelerating the materials as we've got to a larger and larger diameter as we get back to 863 in diameter right to the back. And that's really trying to get the high centrifugal force.
So this is just showing the threshing and the rotor of the combine that we've just looked at. That's showing the grain dropping through and straw being separated out.
Also, all of these elements are all protected, so they've all got a shear groove sort of cast into them. So if you do have any foreign objects go through them, they will break off rather than damaging the rotor. And then the rear of this, then there's discharge beaters on this, and then goes into one final discharge beater with a full width grate underneath it. And we're doing at the back very similar to what we did at the front. We're going to now try and discharge that material back into a nice square box shaped kind of row. So we have the discharge beater there, but that material flow onto the sieves is crucial. And one of the things that we focus quite heavily on is material flow and keeping that really nice and uniform over that sieve frame. And from our front section here, we have these auger troughs. And the beautiful thing about auger troughs, if you ever tip corn through an auger, you watch it and it always stirs all the big stuff to the top. All the larger, lighter material comes to the top and the grain disappears to the bottom. But you've also got a uniform speed. So everything, no matter if you're going uphill, downhill, that grain is passing onto that grain pan at a nice uniform speed and presenting it really nicely onto that cleaning chute. And the less active stuff you do on the sieve, the more chance you've got the sieve of doing its job and the airflow being balanced through the machine. So it's coming through uniformly, and once it gets in here, so this is set like up for what we call a pure level land application. We have these fish backs extended all the way through. So you can see on the top of the sieve frame, you can see those, there can be some fish backs bolted on here that sit up sort of 8 to 9 inches above that sieve frame. And essentially you want to try and keep the material only in suspension, no more than an inch above the sieve. You don't want material sat on the sieve unless it's grain. The only thing you want actually touching the sieve is grain. Everything else wants to be in suspension, and you want to be able to, with the movement of the sieve, you want to be able to engage in the crop, engage in that material, and that's why I say it's quite a balance. If you've got stuff 2 foot above the sieve frame, you've got way too much wind on it. Across here, so we're giving a real nice uniform airflow all across the entire sieve, about 740 cubic metres of airflow delivered over that sieve box. And again, trying to alleviate that all out through the back of the machine. You'll see there is some balancing ducts on the side of the S-series there behind us. So the black ducts and the wheels there to try and balance the airflow out of the machine, so that we haven't got back pressure.
All right, I see.
We don't sell that header in the States. We sell a HDR, which is a shorter belt. It's the same belt as that. So that is definitely for Europe. That depth of the belt, that 1.2 metre deep belt, to make sure you can get your tool out. So you're obviously laid flat.
So from the knife to the back, it's 1.2.
1.2.
What's this one?
1 metre.
Ah, right.
So, but even the position of the top auger, etc., you're kind of limited on there.
Yeah.
Whereas that, it's not, you've got so much more depth, sort of everything's going up with you.
How does this perform against the MacDon?
Yeah, I mean these are very, very similar. They're a different execution of a similar principle, to be honest. They're both a hinged header. This was designed basically to go to tip more, angle more, have a deeper belt. So the MacDon, tilts forward and back. We fully integrated into the combine. So that's the nice thing about the HDXs on the JD.
And that can be tipped hydraulically, can it?
Yeah.
So the knife's closest to the floor?
Yeah, you can tip it right over. So you can tip it to the point on the floor.
Yeah.
So these you can tip all the way forward. The articulation, so there's over the full width, there's about another half a metre of articulation in terms with even with the feed house level.
Yeah.
So it's just simply designed to be whatever an FD2 was going to do. This was to try and future-proof it further than that. And when you're trampling on at greater speed, it's surprising how much of a depth of material you have.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not all sat on the front of the belt. When you have these wider headers, the reel actually is bringing up some of that depth quite a lot deeper up the belt.
Yeah.
So it's surprising what it does. It's even the addition of the fingers in there over a non-fingered top auger. The difference that makes in oilseed rape of just getting in and diving under the middle makes it either way around.
Just looking underneath here, that's the join. There's one join in it, and if the belt does snap, you can put another joint. You have to buy a whole new belt, but you can have more than one join in it. Have as many joins as you like, I think. But you can't buy parts of a belt. It's a whole length or at once. That's onto the sieves. This is a hillside model where the header is at an angle but the combine itself is level, which makes it better for thrashing and losses. Grain losses, that is, are better. So to the sieves you can see as well. Shows the straw being chopped and spread out to the full width of the cut. You can alter the knives to make it chop shorter, and then you can alter the deflector vanes at the back for any crosswind, so it still spreads it where you want it. John Deere have always been very good at precision ag and technology. Here you can see the combine is sending data out to the office, so the office is receiving it. This is through the ops centre, and then the office is sending data to the combine, and this is the combine receiving it. Whether it's work plans or various instructions. That's the top of the grain tank, that's in the bottom of the grain tank. There I see the grain tank filling. That's all seed rate the combine's cutting. So looking at this cutaway of another combine, this is the cutaway of a T series. Now this is completely different to what you've just seen, because this is what we call a straw walking machine, so it doesn't chop the straw up as much, and it's what livestock farmers would use because they get a better bale out the back. The straw's better, it's not so fine, and it's just generally better for livestock for bedding. You can see it's completely different to what we've just looked at. Different with the rotors and the separators here, how it separates the grain. Here's the concave, as it's called, underneath here. Just go around the front. See, that's where the grain's going in. So that rotor's going around there and forcing the grain through there, and it's separating the grain out of the straw. So the augers here are the same, you can see underneath there and all the way through there. So they're carrying the grain onto the grain pan through here, then the straw carries on through these rotors here to the back, and all the time there's grain is dropping through here if there's any grain left in the straw, and of course the further back you get, the less grain there is left in the straw. This is going around essentially, it's going around like that, jumping up and down and flying the straw up and down and trying to separate any remaining grain, and it'll all drop through to here. You can see there's a chute there, so the grain will drop in here and onto here, and then that goes, the grain drops down there and down into the straw walkers, down into the sieves, which are just through there. Then the grain will drop through there, lower down, drop through, the grain will drop through into a cross auger, then it goes up the other side of the combine to the grain tank. See the grain at the very bottom in that auger, that's going up to the tank. So that's the end of another waffle from John Deere. The next part will be from where the combines are actually manufactured. Just coming out of Newark, and I just wanted to show you a house around here that always has lots of Christmas decorations, blow up ones as well. Father Christmas's reindeers. Just look around here, they do it for charity. So it's at a village called Coddington, which is just on the edge of Newark, on the eastern edge of Newark. We'll just have a look here, it's absolutely brilliant. We've been doing it for a number of years now. Absolutely brilliant. So this is where the donations are going. Absolutely brilliant. So that's it for another update. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and hope you all have a fantastic Christmas, whatever you happen to be doing Christmas Day. And from Rhonda and myself and Frankie and Nala, happy Christmas.